Hi everyone, this is Laura Lee from Keenan Recruitment. I'm delighted to be welcoming along to our Freshers event today two amazing social workers from the British Association of Social Worker Professional Support Service, Sue and Phoenix. Thank you so much for coming along today. And the format of today is going to be nice and informal, just to share with you the amazing work that's done by the Professional Support Service, if you aren't aware of it, and how to access it. So, Sue, I'll come to you first. Can you tell me a bit about how you got involved with the professional support service and how you've found things, particularly in 2022 compared to the last couple of years where we've all really struggled?
So I came to BASW because I had developed an interest in coaching over the last 5 or 6 years. And I hadn't really heard coaching mentioned very much in social work. You know, it was one of those things which had come through to me through different avenues. And when I heard that BASW were offering a professional support service and wanted people to coach, it was an opportunity for me to develop my skills, and to learn new things, and just to have different experiences, but also to be able to give something back, because I am sort of retired now, and as a practicing full-time social worker, but still involved in practice education, and the I can coaching applies to everybody. They can be students, they can be people who are near the end of their career, and in between, anything across all different sectors. But I really enjoy this coaching with students, because it links in very much to the practice education as well. And what I've discovered is that there are common problems or common issues all across,
Mm,
across from younger people right the way through to people who are thinking of retiring. There are still things which are a challenge, but I think the lockdown, and the people that didn't have that initial support when they first went onto their social work course. um, I heard the other day of people, just given a laptop in a car park, for
yeah.
example, and some wet wipes and mask and things, and that was their induction. And I think that's really, really sad. And I'm finding now that people are bringing that to coaching, and saying that they felt they've missed something. They
Mm.
really feel that they're missing that contact, with other people, and the learning that comes with being around other people. I think that's the challenge now, is people have realised what they missed.
Mm. And Phoenix, coming to you, same question. How did you get involved with the service and what have you found over the last year?
Yeah. How did I get involved with the BASW Professional Support Service? I came to it similar to Sue, really. Like, I really was interested in coaching. I've been a social worker for 18 years, and I wanted to sort of develop in a different area for myself. So when the pandemic hit, I thought, this is a good time when things kind of started shifting online and lots of courses, changed. I thought this is a good time for me to look into becoming an accredited coach. So I started to do that. I've always been interested in practice education and supporting and enabling the learning of students and newly qualified social workers. So I thought, oh, this would be a good thing for me to do. So I heard about the BASW PSS. I think there was a call that was put out or an email or something on the website. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'm interested in coaching as well. The kind of work that I do now is removed from the front line, so I don't really get a chance to do that work in the community. So in the pandemic, I was doing, sort of volunteer work, and I thought BASW would be a good opportunity to give back to social workers who, I think I could, give some care and support to. So that's how I came to the BASW PSS in 2020, and started doing coaching there. I do like 1 hour of volunteer coaching a week, in supporting students and newly qualified social workers, but also, like Sue said, experienced social workers, social work
Yeah.
managers that come to the service. And I've been talking a lot about well-being and taking care of yourself in the last couple of years. You know, as we know, with the pandemic, it's been really challenging, and social work generally is a challenging profession. You know, there's a impact emotionally and physically in who we are as individuals when we're working as social workers, but there's also the systemic things and the political things that make the work challenging for us. And I say us because, you know, I'm also a qualified social worker.
Yes.
But also, you know, I've been talking to a lot of students who are needing, you know, who are feeling stuck, who are needing, you know, just a little bit more of like space for reflection, supervision, just, you know, becoming unstuck in the things that they're experiencing in placement, and they need a safe place where they can go and do that. I've also experienced just thinking about, you know, how you give yourself the same care and attention that you give to others, because we come into this profession to care for other people, right? And we're really good at that, and we're really good at fixing for others. But I'm hearing a lot about, you know, how do I care for myself too, so that I can have a long career in social work. You know, there's lots of things that happen when you start training to be a social worker, and you start thinking like, oh, you know, maybe this wasn't what I thought it was initially going to be. So how do I consolidate those thoughts about, you know, what I thought social work was going to be and where I am now, and how I can move forward with that. Maybe some goal setting and planning around that. Maybe just providing a listening ear, really, to students experiencing training in a very challenging context, you know, which is what we're going through now with the pandemic and the aftermath of that, you know, because social care organizations are changing, and the way that we provide support is changing.
So what advice would you give to any kind of social workers that social work students, particularly first years, that aren't sure, you know, how to access support? What advice would you give them in terms of how to reach out?
I'd say there's a wonderful organisation called Camarados, and one of their kind of, I don't know if it's not really a ground rule, one of their philosophies of being is the best way you can help people is ask other people for their help. And I do think that as students, if you ask other professionals, and particularly other social workers, you know, we all really like to feel that we've got some use. And so I'd encourage students always to just ask other people who are in social work for information, for advice, for sharing how you feel. You know, obviously you pick the person for whatever it is, but I just feel that we all want to feel valued, and the best way you can help yourself is often by asking other people, and they feel valued as well. So I think that'd be my first tip. And also try to grab as many experiences as you can, because one of the things that I've found is, because of lockdown, the opportunities for people to go and visit lots of other teams, find out what other teams do, hasn't really existed. You know, they've just been in their placement maybe with that one team, and might maybe met some other professionals, but really not explored social work as a whole. And so they haven't perhaps developed that breadth of what social work is, from sort of very grassroots community, you know, up to safeguarding and the sort of, and they haven't really looked across things. So that's come up quite a couple of times about, you know, I don't really know. I'm finishing now my course, but I don't know what kind of social worker I want to be. They know perhaps what they want to be in terms of their values, but they don't know where they want to work, and what kind of age group, or where they want to work. So I'd say try to grab any opportunities now as things are opening up to visit different teams, because there are so many different areas you can work as a social worker. And interesting, I think one student's come back to me and is already quite surprised. She visited a drug and alcohol team and didn't think she'd like it, but is actually really, really, really impressed with what they do, and it's ignited a spark. So that's great.
Yeah, that's definitely something, I suppose, working with an agency and a partner. One of the things we always say is, ask each other, or ask someone in your field about, ask someone in that sector what opportunities. We run a blog every year called um the social work landscape, because it changes all the time. There's pilot programs being rolled out, there's different, areas of development and new services. So it is changing all the time. And I suppose by listening to each other is a great way of finding out about the world of social work, because it is an ever-changing landscape. And Phoenix, what about you? What advice would you give for, particularly first years, or people going into maybe their first placement? Any words of wisdom that you would like to offer?
Yeah, I think, I like what Sue said, definitely reach out. Like, it might feel a bit scary and daunting to do so when you're a first year student or going into your first placement, but, and people look really busy and really, engaged in what they're doing. But a lot of the times people want to help, people want to share their experience. They want to take you, shadowing and take you on different visits. So I would say just don't be afraid to ask, just go and see if you're interested in something. You might be able to just go and shadow a different team to just see what kind of experience they have there. Um, the other thing I like to say is the most important tool in social work is you, because you're the one training. You're the one doing the work, you're the one being there with the interventions, you're the one holding on to things, right? So don't forget to include yourself in the equation of care and support, because you're very important to that as well. That means, bringing awareness to your physical health. How are you feeling, internally, finding things that work for you in terms of managing stress. And I say that early on because learning to do that early on and asking people, your practice educators and on-site supervisors, about how to do that, and your colleagues, um, will give you kind of a set of skills and tools that you can use to carry forward into your final placement, into your first year in practice and beyond. But I think, very often we don't talk about that in social work, and it's, something that is taken for granted. But, we can't do the work unless we are taking care of ourselves as well, so that we can find the space to think about what we bring into the room, what about us, what about our social graces are making an impact into the work that we do, and how we learn from that, right? And so the only way to do that is to tune into yourself. And that can be very easily overlooked. If we reflect on how our experience of other people have impacted us. We reflect on what we're doing. We reflect on theories and legislation. And I also think maybe we need to reflect internally and seek out better ways to take care of ourselves, so we could be healthier, stronger social workers when we come out of training.
That's really interesting, Phoenix. You talked about reflection, because I was thinking while you were talking, one of the most useful pieces of advice, which I still pass on to students that I am practice educator for, is my practice supervisor said at the very start of mine placement many years ago, I want you to go and find a place where you feel happy and relaxed. It can be a cafe, it can be a place out in the country, or a park or whatever. And that's where I want you to reflect. And, when you're coming back from a visit, sometimes you will want to sit there and think. And he said, if you just give me, we'll have a code word, and if you just say you're at X or whatever, then I will know where you are. But you can go there and think. And it's so important to have space and make space to reflect. Because otherwise you go from one thing to another and your head's buzzing with it all. But having a space where you go just to think, and sometimes you only need 5 or 10 minutes, and it really does make a difference. So yeah, I'd say find your own special place to do that reflection.
Yeah. Put it in your diary.
Yeah,
Diarize it, diarize that reflective time, because it very easily can be overlooked too. But put it in your diary and it's there. It could be 15 minutes and you're doing it, and, just find what works for you, but, make it a part of your learning journey. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing, ladies. And can you tell us a bit about how and the best way if you want to get support from the professional support service, how students and potentially graduates and experienced social workers can get in touch with you?
Yeah. So you go online, you can search BASW PSS, and it'll take you straight through the website, and you can then click on Find a Coach, and there'll be a list of beautiful coaches. Sue and I will be on that list. And then you can find who you want to work with. You know, there's like a little blurb about our profile, where we've worked and what we've done. So you can see, you know, areas of interest, or if you're looking for something specific. And then you can just click to make an appointment there, and it's all done through the website. And you should receive an appointment link, and we will receive the same appointment link. And if there's ever any trouble, the website, you can contact the people on the website, and they're really good at helping you with rebooking or changing or things like that. But it should be, you know, easy enough to access if you just search BASW PSS. I don't know if I missed anything, Sue, on that.
No, I think that's right. And I think you find that there's a whole range of times as well. Not only do we just have a whole range of coaches, but there's times from very early in the morning to late night, and occasional weekends as well, appointments.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to just end the interview here. Thank you so much again for coming along today. And I'm sure all of our students and social work support staff will find this really useful. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.